A leaked internal TSA report showed that hidden weapons were able to slip past security 95% of the time. If you had such a high rate of failure at your job, it would be safe to say you wouldn't hold that job for very long. So why do we keep funding a failed government program? This speech will address why the TSA should be abolished and what alternative methods can be taken to ensure the safety of travelers. I've done my fair share of traveling, done so pre 9/11 and post 9/11. However, when most of us are planning on flying, we inevitably have thoughts of the TSA and whether or not we will be harassed. The reason this topic is important is because of the infringement of our rights, the huge yearly operating costs of the TSA, and the fact that there are much more effective methods to protect our travelers. First, we will address how the TSA abuses their power and the ways our rights are infringed upon. Then we will address the huge budget the TSA is given yearly and how it is a vast waste of money. Finally, we will discuss more effective methods to protect air travelers. Let's begin by addressing the most important topic of the three, how the TSA is abusing its power and taking away some of our rights. The TSA frequently abuses the rights of Americans. On one occasion, a female TSA agent pats down passenger Angela Rye in a way that's so intimate and evasive, it seems downright absurd. Frustrated and likely humiliated, Rye begins to cry toward the end of the clip. Many believe that the TSA violates the Fourth Amendment. And this is all without providing security benefits to us or the country. In one case, 2 Transportation Security Administration screeners at Denver International Airport were manipulating full-body scanners in order to grope men's crotches. Yes, the 2 TSA agents were fired, but this doesn't hide the fact that the TSA has their hands on American private parts far too often. The current body scanners also have a very high false alarm rates. Millimeter waves also reflect off of water, which can cause the scanner to mistake sweat for a potentially dangerous object. The TSA also had to reach agreements with the American Civil Liberties Union after a flurry of complaints from African American women whose hair was too frequently inspected after passing through the scanner. These are just a few of the instances of the TSA abusing its power and taking away the rights of Americans. Now let's discuss the huge budget the TSA is given and how it is a vast waste of money. Homeland Security officials looking to evaluate the agency had a clever idea. They pretended to be terrorists and tried to smuggle guns and bombs onto planes 70 different times. And 67 of those times, the Red Team succeeded. Their weapons and bombs were not confiscated despite the TSA lengthy screening process. That's a success rate of more than 95%. With being so good at letting threats through, the TSA is still given a budget of $7.6 billion a year. The TSA says our officers, inspectors, air marshals, canine handlers, and other security professionals here in the United States and around the globe are committed to our mission, and they are the most important resource. Yet, their most important resources were unable to stop 95% of dangerous items such as bombs and weapons. These could have easily been items brought onto a real plane. There's basically zero evidence the agency has prevented any attacks. The TSA claims it won't provide examples of such cases due to national security, but given its history of bragging about lesser successes, that's a little tough to believe. The TSA only referred to law enforcement 14% of passengers who were flagged. Of that 14%, only 0.6% led to an actual arrest. and 0% of those arrests led to anything terrorist related. It's clear to see that the TSA has done nothing useful with the large budget it is given every single year. Finally, let's dive into more effective methods to protect air travelers. One thing that has come to mind for many is to have safety checks for airliners, as they do for cars. People tend to shy away from vehicles with poor safety ratings, which would happen if airlines had safety ratings as well. The burden to protect passengers should lie with the airline themselves. After all, they protect the plane and the cargo. Why not extend this to the airline? Another strong deterrent would be if pilots were armed. This would allow them to protect themselves and the passengers if anything were to happen. There are many options that could take the place of the TSA, and it is certainly something that should be discussed and looked into further. To conclude, the TSA infringes on our rights and costs the taxpayers billions a year. With many options to replace them, the TSA should be abolished, not only because of the waste of money, but because we deserve to maintain our rights and to actually be safe when traveling. The TSA merely gives the illusion of security at a hefty price tag. As Americans, we can have both better security and our rights back. We must take action and stop the monster known as the TSA. Thank you.